as to the golf industry itself, yesterday I was talking to you guys a lot about where the golf industry was from a demographic standpoint, where the golf industry was from the perspective of how it impacts all of you, or better put, how all of you impact the golf industry, because you guys are the lifeblood that make everything else, all of this work, all of it, right? And so that's why I was, when Derek Sprague was on with us yesterday, the incoming new CEO of the PGA of America, I was asking him the question about what role the PGA of America, who also are the people putting together the PGA show this week, ultimately, what role that they want to play for the game and for the people, because I think we need to know who speaks for the 99.99%. The numbers that I was giving you yesterday of 45 million, some updated numbers this morning look more like 47 million golfers in the game. Who's speaking for those people? There are golf, they call them governing bodies. Generally, that's defined by the four majors, the large tours, namely the PGA Tour in particular, et cetera. And we often hear the phrase being used about so-called golf's ecosystem. Well, generally, when you hear, at least in a business sense, an ecosystem, that's the status quo. That's the power structure that exists right now. And from my own personal part, I would love to hear one of those governing bodies. And I think the PGA of America is particularly positioned for this, representing some 30,000 PGA professionals who are in contact with you every day. They are, as I like to say, the sentries at the gate of the game. I'd like to hear one of those governing bodies go, yeah, we feel like it's our responsibility to be a voice in that room for those 45 million people, 47 million people. I think with all the things that are going on right now, it's important that you know who is your voice, who's representing you at these very high level and high stake conversations. So we'll see how that plays itself out. But the reason I'm mentioning all that was because I was talking about the massive numbers, and they are incredibly impressive with what's going on with the game. You can call it from the business side, but again, and honestly, I think it's more than that. It's your side. It's what you guys are doing. It's what you're involved in. But from a business perspective, which in a world that very much is defined by politics and influence and positioning, I think it's important for the world to know these numbers about the game of golf. And the golf industry currently represents $102 billion in direct economic impact in the United States. Think about that for 1 second. $102 billion in direct economic impact. The broader economic impact in the USA from the golf industry is $226.5 billion. $226.5 billion. And when you hear that and you go, okay, well, what does that mean? For example, real estate that's driven by a golf course, or hotel accommodations because of people coming to play a particular place, airline tickets that are purchased, et cetera, et cetera. So the broader economic impact, $226.5 billion. The jobs represented in the golf industry, 1.65 million. And what I'd love to do here for just a second is give you a comparison of other industries, in some cases, because it surprised me, I suspect it will you as well. I was shocked to find out that golf, as a business engine, employs more people. Here's some of those that I'm talking about. Again, the golf industry, 1.65 million. Let's say software industry, because it's massive in the USA, 1.6 million. Cooks, restaurants, 1.4 million. Finance managers, right? 837,000. Nurses, 292,000 in the USA. Construction labor, 1.4 million, smaller than the golf industry. Accountants, bookkeepers, 1.5 million. The golf industry is larger. Absolutely remarkable. What's happening in the game of golf right now? In last year, the last full reporting year was 2023, and we'll get the results for 2024 in another probably 2 months when they're all fully tabulated. So last time we have recording data, 500 million plus rounds in each of the last 4 years. Our last recording year was 531 million rounds. That was an all-time record, as you can imagine. The overall reach of golf in the United States is estimated at 123 million. We've got all kinds of data that Andrew's putting up on your screen that you can peruse through as you please here. Now, that 123 million in the USA, that's defined by playing on and off course. That's defined by maybe you follow golf on TV. Maybe you read about the game from all sources. Listening or watching, say, a golf podcast or golf information or golf entertainment consumed online or streaming content. There's 45 million souls that played the game of golf. Club in hand, hit a ball. That's either on course or off course. And it's significant because in the last year, it was the first year that it's starting to switch. Globally, there's more people playing the game of golf off course. You're talking about simulators, entertainment venues, etc. But then those also become a feeder system to people ascending to playing the game on course as well. 3.5 million juniors in the game. That's a 40% increase over 2019. Think about that for a second. And that gain represents the largest gain of any individual category. This is what I mean about how it is absolutely exploding. And of that junior number, 37% are female. It was 15% female 25 years ago. Very, very exciting stuff. Female golfers, just speaking of that, they represent 41% of all new golfers coming into the game. I still think as a game, we have a challenge in retaining new golfers as they come in and retaining those junior golfers once they have discovered the game. And a lot of that comes down to those of us who are already in the game and playing the game and enjoying the game to make sure we make people feel welcome.